Most people call procrastination a motivation problem, but that explanation keeps people stuck for years. If motivation were the real cause, you would fail randomly. Instead, your delays are predictable. They appear around specific tasks, at specific times, under specific conditions. That pattern tells us something important. Procrastination is not chaos. It is a system response. When a task feels uncertain, too large, emotionally risky, or hard to enter, your brain protects short-term comfort by delaying action. The delay gives relief for a few minutes, so the loop gets reinforced. Then guilt builds, pressure rises, and the next start feels even heavier. In this video, we are going to map that loop clearly and replace it with a practical system you can run every day, even when you do not feel ready. Here is the reframe that matters. Procrastination is usually an entry problem, not an effort problem. People often assume they are avoiding work because they are weak, but most of the pain appears before meaningful work even begins. The task is blurry, the standard feels too high, and the first move is undefined. Your brain reads that as friction and threat, then pushes you toward easier alternatives like scrolling, cleaning, or busy admin work. Those choices are not random distractions. They are lower friction actions that promise fast certainty. So the fix is not to demand more willpower in that moment. The fix is to redesign the start conditions. Once entry friction drops, momentum appears much faster than people expect. We are going to build that redesign in steps so you can apply it to writing, studying, planning, exercise, or any task you keep postponing. Step 1 is a friction audit. Instead of asking, "Why am I lazy?" ask where exactly the start is breaking. Use 4 checks. First, clarity. Do you know the exact first visible action? Second, size. Is the first block small enough to begin in under 2 minutes? Third, stakes. Are you secretly trying to do it perfectly on the first attempt? Fourth, context. Is your environment set up to begin immediately, or are there setup obstacles before the real work starts? Write down the first point where you usually stall. This is important because vague self-criticism creates no leverage. Specific friction creates leverage. The goal of the audit is not self-judgment, it is clear problem mapping. Once you can name the exact friction point, you can engineer around it instead of negotiating with yourself every day. Step 2 is reducing entry cost until starting feels almost automatic. Choose one task and create a minimum start version so small that resistance has nothing to argue with. If the task is writing a report, minimum start could be open the file and type one rough sentence. If the task is studying, minimum start could be open notes and solve one practice question. If the task is training, minimum start could be put on shoes and do one warm-up set. Notice what this does. You are no longer deciding whether to finish a large project. You are deciding whether to complete a tiny entry action. That shift reduces threat and increases completion probability. And once you begin, your brain updates from anticipation to engagement. Momentum grows from movement, not from thinking about movement. Step 3 is removing decision drag before the task. Many delays happen because you are choosing between too many possible actions after you sit down. Use a 2-option rule. Before your work block, decide only between option A and option B, both pre-approved. Then use one filter. Which option is easiest to start in the next 10 minutes? Pick that and commit. This keeps your brain out of endless comparison mode. You are not trying to select the perfect option for the whole week. You are selecting the easiest, useful entry point right now. That is enough to protect momentum. Over time, this rule trains identity too. You become someone who starts quickly and adjusts while moving, instead of someone who overthinks before action. Step 4 is environment design. Behavior follows the path of least friction. So make the right action physically easier than the avoidance action. Put work materials open and visible before your start time. Move high distraction apps out of sight, or add simple blockers during focus blocks. Keep one dedicated start location that your brain associates with beginning, not browsing. Add one visual cue that means start now, such as a card that says first step only. None of this is dramatic, but it works because it changes default behavior. When the environment points you toward action, you spend less energy negotiating with yourself. This is a major theme in behavior change. Consistency comes from design, not daily heroics. Step 5 is a repeatable start ritual. Rituals reduce uncertainty because they give your brain the same predictable launch sequence each time. Keep it short. 1 deep exhale, open the task, start a 10-minute timer, and execute only the minimum start action. During those 10 minutes, your only goal is to stay in contact with the task. Do not judge quality yet. Do not expand scope. Do not switch to optimization mode. At the timer end, you can choose to continue or stop, but you must complete the initial contact period first. This works because it shifts your focus from outcome anxiety to process reliability. You are training the start muscle, and that is the bottleneck for most people. Step 6 is your recovery protocol for off days. You will miss sessions sometimes. The mistake is turning one miss into an identity story. Instead, use a 24-hour reset rule. If you miss a planned block, schedule the smallest restart block within the next day and run only the minimum start version. Then, log one sentence. Where did friction break the system this time? Maybe timing was wrong, environment was noisy, or your first step was too large. Update one variable and continue. This keeps you in builder mode rather than shame mode. People who recover quickly outperform people who aim for perfect streaks. Reliability is not never missing. Reliability is rapid re-entry after disruption. Step 7 is a weekly system review. Spend 10 minutes once a week reviewing only 3 metrics: starts attempted, starts completed, and average delay before first action. Keep it simple. Then ask one question. What made starting easiest this week? Preserve that condition. And ask one more. What pattern caused the biggest delay? Redesign that condition for next week. This turns progress into feedback rather than emotion. You stop guessing and start iterating. Over a month, small weekly adjustments compound into major behavior change. Most people quit because they rely on mood. Systems improve because they rely on data and design. So here's the full model in one line. Identify friction, shrink the first step, remove decision drag, design the environment, run a start ritual, recover quickly, and review weekly. That is the system behind consistent action. You do not need perfect motivation for this to work. You need repeatable conditions that make starting easy enough to happen often. If procrastination has been a long pattern for you, start today with only one task and one minimum start action. Run it for 7 days and track your start delay. You will see the loop change when the system changes. If this breakdown helped, keep this as your reference and apply one piece immediately after this video.